would have never happened that way. And I say, oh, that just wouldn't have happened.
That's the amount of resources and the speed that things happen on those TV shows are not my experience at all.
And the fact that they always find these little clues, it's just like it's just not that easy at that time to find it. But I can tell you, part of the fact that people are out there looking for children sometimes is true. Sometimes not so true, because they are difficult. These are the hardest cases of all my cases, and I work bank robberies, child abductions, all kinds of cases, mortgage fraud, identity theft, all these cases. And these are by far the most difficult cases to work.
Well, our clients don't see themselves as needing any help. They don't see themselves as victims. And more importantly, they really think they're on the fast track to getting what they want out of life. They think that it's like a moral shortcut. Like, you know, I don't have to live by other people's rules. And that's really what is sold to them. That's the package that is sold to them. You know, you don't have to live by other people's rules. We're going to live in this world. I believe in your dreams. I believe in you. And we can do this thing together. Whether that trafficker be a woman or a man, that's what's being sold. What's being sold is your dreams. And maybe for the first time, someone's actually listening to you and then feeding back to you whether they ever fulfill those dreams or not is not the issue. It's that you feel heard, loved, and accepted, and that you're going to finally get somewhere.
And the truth of the matter is, there are no shortcuts to life.
Right.
It's not happening. No matter how naive they are to think that it is, it's just no shortcuts to life. It just isn't. Nothing comes that easy without some real cause.
But I sometimes think it's because we also are not showing that side. We're not showing to our kids sometimes that life is hard and that you have to try more than once, and that
I believe that's true. I believe that's true, because even the young people that I see, and they will see you or us in church thinking that our lives are so good. And I feel like saying, hey, honey, you don't want to hear my story. I mean, you just don't want to hear. But it feels like they have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and take children on a bus and make it, and you still do it, and all the things that we may have had to do to try to just get the sacrifices that we have to do. Oh no, you don't want to hear my story.
But the thing is, we don't share those stories, and we don't, and we are thankful, because that's what we're grateful, because that's what we're just thankful. And that's seen differently by them than it is. It's seen like, so even if they walk into church, it's like, well, if I drink this Kool-Aid, then my life should be easy. It should be better. It should be instantly. Everything is about instant.
And I think that the fast pace, the internet, the speed of life has just accelerated and perpetuated some of the problems. And don't get me wrong, I think that technology has definitely helped us in so many ways. But I think that also it gives our young people an idea that everything is going to come that quickly.
Well, and that's the first thing. You know, our kids are going to talk to strangers.
Yeah, they are.
There's no way around that anymore. So it's not, don't talk to strangers. You can say that all day. Your teenager will be laughing behind your back because everybody talks to strangers. So we don't have internet today, or I would have gone to commonsensemedia.org, so you guys can go to that on your own. Do you know what Snapchat is? Instagram, Kik, Vine, Tumblr, Twitter. All of that, they actually have little videos on which each one is for parents.
Not to mention, I've been having a lot of cases lately with gaming and children who play in, what is it called? You know the
Warcraft or
Minecraft and all of the games on the PlayStation, Xbox One or Xbox.
Right, it's all connected to the internet.
You can talk to anybody anywhere. So and these young people have these devices in their bedroom. So you're essentially inviting a stranger into their bedroom, because that's what it's like. And most of these young people have their phones, their computers, their games are in their bedroom. And so you have strangers they're talking to in their bedroom. And I have so many cases where children have been lured.
But even when you ask your kids, because my son's on games all the time, and I'm like, who are you talking to? Who are you playing with on there?
My friend.
Right, my friend. He's the guy I play with all the time on there.
All the time. They don't even know that they may not be playing with a 13, 17-year-old just like them. That they playing with, these cases happen because I've gotten so many, what they call now is sextortion cases, in which they were talking to 10-year-olds, because it was almost all 10-year-olds, were talking to this 44-year-old guy who they never met.
So this 10-year-old was talking on the PlayStation with.
It started out as gaming, and he talked them into going into a chat room, and then from the chat room, he coerced these 10-year-olds, over 500 victims he never met.
Over 500?
Over 500. 15 was in Maryland. 15 victims, this was all over the country. Over 500 victims over the country. He wasn't in Maryland, but he was talking online. 15 victims were in Maryland. The average age was about, out of the 15, about 10 of them were 10-year-olds. Upper class, gated communities. I'm telling you, parents shocked to have the FBI and me. FBI, all the agents and me show up at their house. It is horrifying. You're thinking your 10-year-old doesn't even know how to get in a chat room. That's terrible. And your child is conversing with this person who they thought was around their age. He winds up being 44 years old, and he coerced them into showing a body part. Maybe the girls were showing up boobs real quick or something. Because after 2 months of talking to him and playing games with him, they thought that this child was really a friend.
Like who is a stranger? You know,
Yeah.
just because you've text messaged with someone for months does not mean that it's time to meet up. And there's a meetup app.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know,
it was incredible. So this guy actually talked these young children into doing something, showing a body part or doing something, which he was videoing. And he told them if they didn't do more, he was going to put it on YouTube, on Facebook. He already was involved and knew their Facebook and all their social media. That was Snapchat and all of this. He was going to put it on. For a 10-year-old, and for anybody to have all of that, your body on YouTube is a lot. And they couldn't tell their parents because they felt responsible. They should have never done it. So he had them start mutilating themselves, had this doing all kinds of things to themselves, and bringing other friends in to do over 500 victims. It was more than one person subject in this case. And they never met him. This was all done through it, that they never even met. So sextortion is becoming a serious issue. I have about 3 sextortion cases like that. This just happening online through gaming and some chat rooms and different things through the internet. So this is real to hear that young people need to be aware that who they think are their friends aren't necessarily their friends. So they may be their friends, but definitely you got to be, when you feel uncomfortable, just to try to get them to understand that feeling that they feel is real and to pay attention to it.
well, and that they, no matter what has happened, that they can come and talk to you. And that, you know, that if you started a conversation beforehand, because that's what this common sense media suggests, that you start with 7 and 8-year-olds and talking about social media, because they're going to be on social media. Even as soon as they get a cell phone, it's over.
It's over. And guess what the parents said when we came to their house? All of them blamed their 10-year-olds, and they wanted to take the phone away. And like that is going to keep them off of it. I said, really?
Well, and that wasn't even their phone.
It wasn't. I said, really? You're going to take their phone, take their computers, take everything out of their room. What they did was convince this child that it was their fault, too.
And that's what I see constant. When I have cases with her, Constantly I go to parents' homes and the parent blames the child. I have to spend a couple days listening to it, and then as they get to know me, I'll ask the question, who's the parent here? Who, by the way, I just wanted to know, I know this 13-year-old girl, we've gone out a couple of times, who's the parent here? Because what I see is this child's the parent here.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that is what I see happen a lot.
They will throw a fit over the phone and a couple of things as if they are paying the bill. And the parent is acting like they have no control over the phone or what's going on the phone. They may take the phone true, but what we really wanted them to do was to have the conversation and educate the child, because they can use their friend's phone. They're gonna use it.
Well, that's it. You may take somebody's phone, but you're never going to get them off of social media all the way.
So it was just about having a conversation and trying to keep them safe and to enlighten them on what to do, because they definitely are going to be on the phone or going to be on social media.
Well, and they're going to be felt like they'll go to the library. When we punished our daughter, her friends gave her a phone.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's terrible.
But I mean, you have to keep up on talking to them about it or listening for those kind of things, and it can't be all or nothing. That's the other thing I see with, like, a lot of teenagers feel disenfranchised because it's always all or nothing. And that's not communication. If there's an issue with the phone, let's talk about the issue, and then let's talk about how you can be safe, and let's give you a chance at doing things well and right in a controlled environment and earning that phone back.
And it is about trust, and everything else in that child's life should give you an indication of whether or not they've been ready for the phone, because it's a huge responsibility. And so if she can't be trusted to come home from school, sit down and do something, or it has to be a progression. You have to know your child and figure out, are they ready for that responsibility, because it is a lot. And to then talk to them about the responsibility in driving, and the responsibility in having a phone, and all of those things, and not just kind of give them a phone because everybody else has one. Before you do, you really do need to go over some rules about it, about how much of a responsibility, and you want to keep this responsibility.
Well, and like I said, what your passwords are, and what your password is, and security measures. You can set security on every different device, and you can set security on these different WebKit Vine. Most of them have security settings for privacy or public. So you can set all those, and the videos that I'm talking about in 6 Media actually shows you right where to go to click privacy.
And or also, you know what you can do? You can just spot check every now and then.
Right.
Everybody's phone going to be checked.
Well, that's what I have right on here. Check your child. We'd just be standing in the line, and I'd be like, "Hey, Renee, give me that phone. I just want to look at it for a minute."
Yeah.
And if you freaked out, I'd be like, "Did you want me to keep the phone for a day, or do you just want to give me that?"
I mean, it's just routinely. Some things you got to do.
But I would never hunt down her phone when she's not looking at me.
No,
I would just ask my kids for their phone and look at it right in front of them.
Or I would say, occasionally, this is what I'm doing. Everybody got to turn in their phone, just like a random drug testing. All phones come on over here. Let me see what's going on, and I'm looking through them. And that's what I do with my grandchildren, even though I don't know what I'm looking at all the time, because I can't keep up with this stuff. And I try, but their mother is on it, because she's young enough to keep up with it. Heaven help the older people.
Well, that's a lot of the issues.
I know. Heaven help us.
If you don't know what you're
You don't know what you're looking at. They got a new one out. God, they do. They have a new one out almost every day.
Oh, but this one, Waze, W-A-Z-E. This one's really something, because this one,
I got Waze on my
but you can talk right to people as they're moving and you're moving. Many of my clients use this for prostitution. Yeah.
I'm done. I don't know how they get there, but I'm telling you, it is so.
But so I could be driving down 95 and I can see all the other cars that have waves on them. And I could, through the app, not through my texting, and through the app I can just text them. And I could be like, oh, do you see that rest stop up here? Or do you see that hotel here? Stop and meet me.
I'm sure. It is so much out there that it becomes unbelievable to see it.
But on YouTube, like I got a YouTube video here, 4 best apps to talk to strangers. So you guys, it doesn't take forever to educate yourself on what you're looking at. You know, what apps look like, what their little symbols, this little, whatever this little symbol is what you would see on my phone if I had Waves. I would be what you see. So that even if you just check my phone and I go on there, you'd be like, well, what is that about? You know, you're not driving. You don't need to see gas prices and you know, different places to eat and have directions. You're not driving.
You're not driving. I use it for that. Well, it also tells you a car stopped above ahead.
Right. I mean, it does tell you a lot. It's a cool app, you know. But and that's the thing, that many of the things our clients use for one way, we use for another way. It's not that they only have one use. But you need to be careful. There are, like, I know some apps that clients tell me, oh, if that's on her, if that's all that is for, it's texting for prostitution, misdemeanor. So different apps are known for different things. Plenty of Fish. A lot of, I mean, there's 100 free apps on talking with strangers. 1 in 5 teen girls have sent a nude selfie. 20% of our female teen population. We need to consider that.
That is so very common now that they don't even hardly consider that to be anything. Send a selfie.
But if we're not going to talk about it, who is? Like, we as the parents have to talk about these issues and what they're going to bring up later, and not in a degrading kind of way. If we bring it up ahead of time, then we can break some of that shame that keeps the silence going. You know, the devil uses shame to keep people hidden. And so, you know, as soon as you tell somebody about your pain and your sin, things start to loosen up, don't they? Because that shame doesn't have that foothold in your life. And once you do something once, it's a lot easier to do it the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. So, the culture, like, do you guys ever let your kids pick the radio station on your car? You know, I was driving down, I always let my kids pick the radio station. I let most clients pick the radio station, and other clients pick the radio station, and it was a pretty vulgar song on, and I was like, how do you even like that? And she's like, you know, my kid would always play this music for me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
She said, you know, Miss Deneen, you listen to Christian music because it supports your lifestyle. Pimps make us and encourage us to listen to this music because it encourages our lifestyle. And I was just home writing this up, and my 13-year-old at home said, I don't even listen to the words to songs. Why does it bother you? And I'm like, oh, you don't listen to them. Well, let's pull some up. What song do you like here? Because you know you can go to Google and you can write Rihanna work lyrics. And then all the lyrics, because you know, if you're like me, you really don't understand what the person's saying when they're saying it. Right? But you can get all these lyrics right online. It just looks like a poem. I printed out the PIMP by 50 Cent, and I just left it in my office. I left it at work. I left it right on the counter by the computers. I had 4 different clients ask me about that poem. They said, why'd you leave that raunchy poem there? And I said, what? Did you read the title at the top? They're like, what? I'm like, that's a PIMP song. They're like, I used to like that. I don't even think I like that song now.
I know you don't. I know you don't like it.
But, you know, if no one brings something to someone's attention, then they're mindless.
Well, at least have a conversation about it. I mean, it's so.
Well, I don't think I'm not saying that you should control their music, because controlling someone's music doesn't make you do anything. It's not a cause relationship music. It's a symptom of what's inside of me. It shows me where someone is. It doesn't make them where they are. But, you know, we all listen to music that we identify with. And so we should use that tool as parents to see where our kids really are. And talk about, like, there are things that we can talk about without fighting. So we can't have this talk like, I can't believe that. Just, what did she just say? I say that all. What did she just say on that? Did she just say? And then they'll laugh.
You liked it? And you'll be like, and you liked that? You don't find that a little degrading to women? I'm feeling a little mad about that. I'm insulted. Or I'll say something like that, and then they debating with me as to why. But at least we're talking about it in a safe way, so that they don't feel like I am lecturing to them. I'm just kind of telling them I think that's something, because somebody said that to me, I'd be mad, you know, or I'll be offended by it.
Right, you only get 10 to 20 words, so it's good to remember with teens you only get 10 to 20 words anyway until they completely not block you out. There was a bunch of victims that had stories, and I have a friend of mine who's here with me, and I just asked her to share her story a little bit with my good friend Jen. Jen, there's hardly anyone here. You don't have to feel some kind of way. I'm not going to give you the microphone or anything. But if you heard about what we were talking about, whatever you want to share with that. How old were you when you started in the life?
Well, I've been. Okay, well, I was being. Look at me. When I was younger, my father there was sexual abuse there. I don't know my reason. I'm pretty sure that I was for that. And then when I read about him and being sexually molested and my parents when I was about 14 years old, when I was 15, it was removed from me. And like all of us girls decided that we were going to move and we were all going to move. So we stayed with him for 3 days, and all of a sudden my mother said, and it was like that fight that I continued where like I guess all of us were assisted. We're just sitting there whoever makes the money gets to see it. And then when I was 17, I went to rehab. I left rehab before I was discharged. And I went back to it was a date. Affected me and my stories when I was like, I was just there. 2 weeks before I left. This was Georgia and then here to
Well, just how do you think that parents, or what do you think about all this web stuff, or?
I think it's really important to have, like, those tracking apps that you have in the phone, you just want to know that. But also, like, when she was talking about, like, the thing, like, the parents took their phones, I think that's just the worst idea ever, because after that happened, I feel like they should have had the tracking app and then put apps and stuff like that.
Because you can put a tracking app to know where your kids are all the time.
And, well, I think, like, if you had taken the phone, it would have just made it worse, because what if this kid had already set up a date and wanted to meet somebody, and they just go and they don't have their phone, and I don't have their phone. They probably, most likely don't know your number, because I don't know anybody's number, I don't even know my number. So they wouldn't be able to call you if you were in that situation. And
Not that they calling their parents when they're in a bad situation,
right.
but I agree, it can be so bad to take their phone instead of trying to ask them, because they can still get to phones, and they will get phones. Phones seem so easy to get.
But without it on them, you can't know where they are.
And
And you have broken the relationship. You cut, like, it's like cutting off their arm. I
And
mean,
they tend to call home sometimes, or call family. Somebody's usually on social media keeping up with them, and they're talking to friends, and they have some kind of communication, because social media is their life. So they're still having relationships, even though, or
they're posting, if you're already their
posting,
friend
they're
on
doing
Instagram,
something.
they're posting on Instagram.
So
they're
you
posting
feel
on
like
Facebook.
maybe you can gauge if there's at least alive, if they have some way of talking, and somebody may know. Now, the law enforcement and maybe their parents don't really know where they are, but they may have some hint that they are at least alive from time to time.
But I think, like, the biggest thing is, like, if you take the phone away, like, they're gonna get another from somewhere, and it's not gonna get better if you have to track. This is what I did, when I was a little kid, I was in office. I just went and got movements, like, every week, because I was looking and I got picked up and then I was off.
We always take the phone,
Yeah.
so, we always take the phone, and they always get their phone, so it's not, the phone is not the biggest issue. It is trying to help them understand how dangerous, talking to people that they don't know. Or how the phone can be used in the ways that it can be used. But we thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you, Jen, for sharing. It's the
It
first
takes a
time
lot.
she's ever shared.
It takes a lot of courage to be able to talk about some of the most difficult times in your life. We all have them, but we not always tell it. So it takes a lot of courage to stand up.
And that is what I think. I think that a lot of people do have problems, and that they, especially in the church environment, it's like a lack of faith to talk about some of the stuff that you've been through, like you're not being thankful. And I think it leaves room for some people who have had really bad experiences to feel totally unconnected to the church body, because it's the support of the church and the people in the church, the connection, that's going to make a difference.
And it's also the witnessing. I mean, God wants us to witness to others. And it's only through our stories that people really can identify. So it's not so much about where you are, but where you've been, but where He's brought you, And so I find that when I'm in church and I'm able to talk about some of them, now I know we all can't express everything, but when I am able to release it and talk about it, people actually feel more connected to me because they've been through some of the same things. When I get the courage enough to say it, or in the groups, in my small group ministry, or wherever I am, and I'm able to witness about what it was like for me to be here, and I know, then I can confidently say that God is able. You know, when you can tell that story of transformation. And so,
And that's what can really give hope.
it really can. And I think that we as Christians ought to be able to share a little bit more freely about, you know, how we were young and crazy and stupid and did some stuff that we thank God that he just watched over us.
Well, and that we didn't happen to maybe have these resources that they have now, but if
And
we
we weren't
did,
quite smart.
we would very likely be just as stupid. That it's not. It's a lot of children don't realize that there was a time before cell phones and computers. Right, and so, you know, they think, oh, well, you were smart, or you were this, or you never would do that. Well, there wasn't a computer there. I didn't have that
I
opportunity.
didn't have that. We did a lot of things though, without the computers and the cell phones. But we didn't have the options that they had to the world. We didn't have the options to the world. We had an option to our neighborhood. And if it wasn't happening in the west side, this side, I lived in this area. So if it didn't happen on the west side, I didn't know it was existent.
Right, exactly.
Because, you know, I couldn't go into church. You know, it was bad down there across the tracks or something. So if it didn't happen, church her was considered to be, you know. But it wasn't.
Years ago, you know,
But now, you know, even this area, I grew up in 21215. And so, I mean,
And so
that's
did
where
I.
I live. I grew up in this area. And now it's like really so bad. And I was like, really? I love that area. I grew up. If it didn't happen on Park's Avenue, it wasn't happening because I didn't go anywhere else. I went to school, I went to church. Everything was contained into my neighborhood. So I didn't have the access to the world, or even other parts of Baltimore. I was just confined to my little area, my little town, which was my little town. And everybody knew each other, and so it was more of a community. It was.
Well, and I think that is the other thing, is that even when you were doing bad, somebody probably knew where you were, and it was more of a community, where this is much more isolating. That's one of the factors, is that, you know, PIPs will always isolate you and separate you from population, separate you from any support, separate you from anyone who's actually going to make a difference in your life. And it's possible. A lot of that has to do with the ease of movement and communication with people we don't really know.
And the lack of community.
Right.
Because, I mean, people will see what's happening and not tell now. It looks odd and strange, and they just kind of walk through it, like, you know, I'm not getting involved in, or it don't look so odd anymore because you hear about so much stuff. But back in our day, or in the days when I grew up in the 60s, it was definitely somebody was going to tell. Somebody was going to tell somebody. So it's just harder to get away with stuff. But I think now we have to do more to look out for our children. I don't care whose child it is. To look out for our children and say, you know, that's a child, and I know that I have to call somebody about her. And so I think that that's as a community, and that could have been us. I never take for granted that could have been me.
Well, I definitely don't take it on there with me because we're not. Because being sexually abused, and then growing up and then trying to figure out why I was so promiscuous, you know, why did I use drugs and whatever. So when I think about, I consider myself to be a survivor, you know, and then as I was just constantly just drawn, okay, and he was a licensed social worker. I always wanted to help children, but my own pain didn't allow me to be effective in that situation. So I had to sort of professionally move it in another arena, but I'm still back here to want to do this. And so I had to, as you said, you know, be honest and be transparent. First of all, because as an adult and a mother, you know, it's like, how do you see, you know, and it was all this good stuff.
Right.
It's all the good stuff. And I said, well, I need to tell you about who I was. Because as God releases me to do his work, I don't want you to hear my story from no one else but from me.
Right.
You know, so when I'm out doing the testimony, nobody's going to come back and say, did you know that you know? Yeah, but I have someone's hope.
Right.
Your children's home.
Yes,
I mean, you
yes.
really are. And I know that, I think people think they want to be held up here on this pedestal. And when you really want to just be real
Right.
to your children to say, you know, I know about what it feels like to be lonely or to have somebody tell you something and you believe it.
Right. Or be abused.
Or be abused.
Like, you know, I know I was so careful with my kids, and like, I guess, my oldest at 9 was like, you won't ever let us out of your sight, you don't trust me. And I was like, you know, I had a problem when I was younger, and it's not that I don't trust you, it's that I had a problem that now I have to live with and heal from, and I don't want you to ever have that problem. And I know how other people are, because I had that problem. And at 9, I'm not going to go on about it. Just to say, you know, people are not safe, and I'm not having it. You're mine.
And you do the best you can. And you pray. And you pray that it'll all work out. And that you know the thing that you most fear. Because sometimes it is that fear because we've experienced so much that we can be overly there in trying to, you know, protect our children from it. And then they still wind up being in a place where
Well, and that's what I see with working with families,
Yeah.
is that there's often a history involved where the parent is angry and they are blaming the child, and they have a similar history that they've never shared.
I see it all the time too, where the parent, it's such a generation of abuse and neglect and sexual abuse that you're trying to figure out, wow, you know, that this whole family is struggling with trying to find out who they are. That you almost feel like you can hardly blame the mom, who was definitely neglectful and abusive, but she had so much going on that you try to figure out, wow, she never even healed. So how was she able to even take care of this young child when she had been through so much?
So I know you want to go, so.
I am. I gotta
I
go.
appreciate
I've been
that.
up all day,
Thank you.
and I still gotta get on the
Thank
phone
you
and
so
try to
much.
find one little girl. Just one.
Do you have cards?
I do. Just one tonight, and see if I can find her. I know that she doesn't even know, but if I should get her, I will certainly tell her. She doesn't know how many people were praying for her. Y'all just take them. Hand them out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
No worries. So, vulnerability. What makes a child vulnerable to sex trafficking? Overall, age is the #1 age in homelessness. Being disenfranchised, having past history of neglect and abuse. You can see everything listed here. But that's what traffickers are looking for, and they actually target group homes. They target the DMV. We were at the DMV on Reisterstown Road. I was with a client. I would get out of the car. She jumps back in the car. I said, "But what happened? What?"
Oh, I'm just trying to look for the lock up or get me. No, not act like the door locked. I just wanted you to. Y'all look at me. Y'all don't know. Lock up behind me. Unlock behind me, up in front of me.
But so, runaway, homeless youth.
So she comes back in.
So she jumped back in the car, and I said, "What's going on?" She said, "My pimp is standing out there." I said, "What?" She's like, "I forgot. Sometimes he comes down here to recruit."
Down there to where she's staying.
To DMV.
Oh, the motor vehicle.
To Motor Vehicle Administration, yeah.
Oh, my.
Anywhere where people are sitting, that's why the DSS has tried to get Like, why are you sitting here? But, I've seen people try to recruit at the DSS office. I've seen people recruit at the library. I've seen them recruit at Dave & Buster's. 4 years ago, the manager at Dave & Buster's got a kickback for the girls that he got for pimps. And then he only got weekend jail. He didn't even lose his job for that. Yeah, school. Because people stay in school. It's not an automatic kind of like you're just jumping and you're done with, like, in 1 second you're done. And so how do traffickers or pimp recruit? Many, for this age group that we're talking about, use the lover boy technique. So I just looked today. So this is today's, this was from May 12th, but I got this off today. 35 white male, lives in Rosedale, just out of a 2-year relationship with a girl in the biz. Love the crazy lifestyle, not for everyone, obviously. I have a nice 2-bedroom townhouse, puppy, vehicle, job, all that stuff. Looking for a business-minded girl who wants to build and run things. I like casino, having fun, making money, great with ads, and unique ways to find money. I'm a good-looking guy, very chill, very honest, and serious about making a good life with a unique girl who wants to get in and get out, do other business opportunities, and have someone who she's all eyes for. She can count on. I'm picky. I like a sexy girl, so when we walk into a place, all eyes are on us. At a rebuild phase in life, I want to do that with someone that's been through it, looking to get to it. No games, be yourself, I got you, you got me. If you're working and tired of hotels, deadbeats, taking your money, want a great guy and easy living, then hit me up. Send a pic if you can. No scams, please. I don't want to waste time. Kind of guy you can feel like you know all your life. So the stages of a pimp, madam, is recruiting, grooming, and breaking in. So this is about recruiting. There's another ad. This guy has 5 different pictures of himself. It's men seeking women in search of a sexy female to be partners and motivators. So he has this whole long ad. It's very clear to me that this guy's a pimp. But he talks about only if you want him to move you at his own expense do you need to even get back to him. Be prepared to leave your life behind. That's what he said. Be prepared to leave your life at his expense. He's got a job, a house, a car. He's got a car for you, he said. And so those were on Backpage. This is on Craigslist. Broken heart needs healing. Hide this piece. Age 23. Will I ever be happy? It's like no matter how hard I try, it seems like I can't catch a break to save my life. I seriously cannot tell you how many times I tried this, and every single time it was a failed attempt because of lack of interest of whatever reason they may have had for not replying. All I'm looking for is someone I can have a long-lasting relationship with and potentially settle down and build a beautiful future together with. Is that too much to ask for nowadays, LOL? I am an honest, loyal, caring, loving, affectionate, and compassionate guy who likes to go out and ride his bike in my free time and get out and enjoy the nature of life and embrace it. I also like to play sports, watch TV, movies, go out to eat, cuddle, and simply loving and simple, loving, and just have fun. I listen to rap, hip-hop, R&B, some country, and reggae. I'm just a simple, loving, kind, affectionate guy who is tired of getting hurt and being lied to, and I'm looking for someone I can have fun and enjoy life with, someone who is willing to accept me for who I am, including my flaws. I hope this is something that catches your interest, and if so, please reply back and let me know. Hit me up. I don't know what that one meant, HMU, but if you're interested. I would definitely like to meet a woman that needs a man. Let's hang out. I definitely believe connections are divine. I only want to meet a woman that knows she needs a man. As for a certain type I desire, proportionally physique, disease-free, hygienic, hot, and mobile. Send me a picture and your number.
And that's a picture of him.
Those are 3 pictures of him, even though it doesn't even all look like the same guy to me. But, I mean, the guy with the beard definitely doesn't look like the other guy to me.
No.
But it's the same ad, and this is the picture of the same guy. And this guy, I brought him on here because he's from New York City, and he offers right away to move you to New York City if you want to answer him. There was a guy in Minnesota, he'd move you to Minnesota. There was a guy from Dallas who'd move you to Dallas. All expenses paid, he's going to take care of you. And it's not just men, white and black lovers, boyfriend interest. There is a man from Milton, Tennessee, who was accused of trafficking girls as young as 15. He reported using a boy under the age of 18 to help recruit girls from local high schools. The boy was paid $20 for every $100 the girl brought in. There was a business partner, the 18-year-old. And suburban Minnesota high school cheerleader arrested for allegedly recruiting, posting, transporting, and pimping a younger student by creating an online ad and driving the victim to financial fines. So that's traffickers target vulnerability. They listen to the stories and they exploit people's dreams. They befriend and they start to groom someone. You hate this song, do you?
It's not bad.
Do you guys know my number is no, my name is no, my sign is no, my number is no, you got to let it go? Actually, when I heard this song, I played it for one of my daughters because I just feel like she cannot say no to these guys that hit up on her all the time. And so there's actually a song out. Do you know who does that song? You know who?
Baby train.
Yeah, I thought you knew.
Who?
Megan Trainor, so you can look it up on YouTube. I had brought it with me, but you can look it up on YouTube. Just say, my number is no. It's just no. And it's really good. It's really upbeat, and it just makes a point about just because someone asks you, see, watch what pimps do. They will hit you up 60, 70 times. I'm not talking about one time. I'm not talking about 10 times. They want to wear you down, because if I can wear you down, I can see that that's the kind of person you are. So they're not targeting for just kind answers from somebody. They just want somebody, even if, leave me the heck alone. Stop talking to me. That's still an answer, right?
It's giving them more than
Eventually annoyed leads to whatever. So I tell clients all the time, I tell my kids all the time, if you want to stop talking, then stop talking.
Yes. Don't talk.
If that includes texting, face chatting, all that other stuff. If you want to stop communicating with someone, the only way to stop communicating with them is to stop communicating with them. If they're a stalker, an old boyfriend, a potential pimp, the only way to stop talking to somebody is to stop talking to them. And they will get other people's phones. They will call on unknown numbers. As soon as you hear it's them, just click. It's really hard for them to do. I am really asking a lot. Because we all like attention. So playing that song together and the video together is just a good way to just even start to talk about it. And then this other video in here, protect yourself, just yell fire. If you guys will look up on your phone, just yell fire, a teenager started, so 1 in 3 girls before the age of 25 will get sexually attacked. 1 in 3. And so a teenager decided that you needed to protect yourself. And she looked through all this stuff, and you know, you could grab a girl right on the street here and throw her in your trunk, and nobody's going to call the cops. And nobody's even, she could be screaming, help me, he's got me. Nobody's even going to look that way. But you yell fire, and people look. And so this video, she made this video, just yell fire, to help women protect themselves, to learn how to get an attacker off you and run. And these are ways to communicate with our teenagers. We want to know how to prevent. The ways to prevent are through communication, and this is a way to communicate with someone. Sit down and say, oh, I heard about this just yell fire video. Could you watch it with me and tell me what you think? And then you both can have a conversation about it. It's not a big blow up. It's not this. It's not that. Grooming. Love and attention. This is a quote from a pimp. F with the mind and the body will follow. Isolate from family, shower with gifts, nails, hair, nice clothes, photograph, make the girl feel beautiful, like a model, take photographs that are inappropriate, that she would feel bad about and you can use later, alcohol and drugs, tattoos, attention. Pimps are invested. This is an investment. They're going to text that girl, call that girl, text that boy, all day long. And if you want them to not do that, then they have, I have clients who text me all day long. And I don't mind. I like hearing from people. But they're going to not, they need the attention. I had a girl and I said to her parent, I really want to put her in a different host family because the host family she's in, she needs to be the center of attention. And the mother took that, in that host family had 5 children, where she was located. And that mother took it as a really offensive thing for me to say. And I wasn't trying to be offensive about the 14-year-old girl. I was saying that I see this girl. And what she needs is to be the center of attention. And in a household of 5 other children, you cannot be the center of attention. So sometimes, literally, you need to be the only child there. It's just assessing the situation for what it is. Sometimes people really, they didn't just ruin your birthday party. They need to have that attention right now. And we need to figure out how to manage everybody. But a family or a place that doesn't need to manage everyone might be what that person really needs. So I really like this. the risk factors individually, relationship, community, and the social risk factors. So you can see the whole big picture in one graph. And I like that the social risk factors are lack of awareness of commercial sexual exploitation and sex trafficking, sexualization of children, and lack of resources. I've noticed a lot with kids that they're like, I didn't really think pimps were real. I heard about them in the TV, I saw them in videos, but I didn't really think that was real. So if we don't talk about it, yes, ma'am.
We don't know what a pimp is because all these songs that we don't know that a pimp is like selling for sex. They just think it's a cool person who has a lot of money.
Right, yeah, their definition of a pimp is a cool person with a lot of money, not somebody who's going to sell you for sex. Community risk factors, peer pressure, social moms, social isolation, gang involvement, under-resourced schools, neighborhoods, and communities. Relationship, family, conflict, disrupt, or dysfunction. And for the individual, it's like, and so when you look at this, history of child abuse, neglect, or maltreatment, homeless, runaway, or throwaway, LGBT, that community has a lot more issues. History of being system involved, stigma, and discrimination. So if that's something in somebody's history, like I said, even when you're looking at your youth group, or you're looking at your children or your grandchildren's friends, it's not to weed them out. You know, what I see Jesus do is bring people closer. You know, we often want to push bad things away, and Jesus often pulls people closer. So this I have as a handout. I just thought it was so important because that is what everybody wanted to end with. What can I do? Set high standards of love within your home. I know one of the people who was here the last time really felt like you couldn't do that. Then you really need to get help to do that. If things are so broken, it's not that you have to feel guilty and ashamed your own self. Get the outside help you need to get stuff fixed, whether that be a counselor here at church, whether that be a professional counselor, whether that be the counselor at school. Keep working it till it works. Celebrate recovery, whatever that is, you've got to have love within the home. Because we all need love and acceptance. That's the way we're hardwired. Without attachment, we're going to attach to somebody. And we don't care after a while what that cost looks like. Talk to your children about sexual abuse. We've really gone over that. 29% are aged 12 to 17. Talk to your children about sex trafficking. Talk to your children about the dangers of social media. Pay attention to your children and invite your kids to pray for those enslaved. Instead of worrying that your kids are going to worry, give them an avenue from worrying to praying. It is a challenge. But we start off small. Like I said, they only hear 10 to 20 words anyway. This is lots of different little talks. This is in the car talks. You know, some people say, well, you need quality interactions. And I say you're never going to get quality till you put some quantity in there. And I know with my own teenagers, they don't want to do nothing. They want, my boys especially, want to sit in front of the computer and they want to play on the computer all day and all night if I let them. I don't let that bother me. We went to Pimlico today. You know they have the Preakness tour. They have the Hilltop tour at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. You go for free. And you can walk through all of Pimlico. You can see the horses. And the shoe guy tells you how he does his job. Different stops along the way for people to tell you how they do what there, what horse, the subculture of horse racing is. And then I could talk about subcultures in general. And none of them wanted to go. I don't care. That's fine. You don't have to want to go because I don't want you playing the computer, but I let you do that. So guess what? You're gonna. I don't want to cook dinner a lot of times, but here it is anyway. And none of them, they all actually got to school on time. They were like, I'm gonna miss school. You're gonna make me late. Joel got there at 7:30 and Isaiah got there at 7:45. It was fine. We left at 5:40. Did I really want to get up and leave at 5:40? But I wanted them to know I considered them. I considered their issues. School is important. We can do both. Well, getting up early isn't what I was asking for, Mom. And finally, again, the National Sex Trafficking Hotline, 888-3737-888. Completely anonymous, will get help, do everything that you need. Yes, ma'am.
This is the frequency again?
Yes, it
So
is.
how big is this trafficking?
Well, it will increase, any kind of group event. Traffickers are like every other businessman or woman. So there's more business here. There are people coming into this area just for the business of the Preakness. And so with that added, they're going to be putting people at the hotels that people are staying at, and as we run it.
We have a prayer station will be set up out there. They track witnesses. And you have most of the churches in this area that come together with us on that day. So we'll be out there. Well, Pastor Benson will be out there tomorrow, Friday, and from 2 to 4. And Saturday we'll be all out there from 11 to 3. And most of the churches join us, and they walk and they pass tracts out there witnesses. And when they come in here, they ask to come use this bathroom. We let them, and that's our opportunity to witness for them. Yeah.
Right.
We did, one time we were giving out free hot dogs and hamburgers and sodas and water. You gotta find a way to just see what's happening since they coming in this neighborhood.
Well, you gotta have the right to say something.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay, we
pay
have
for
the
the
right.
right to say
That's
something.
right.
Don't think that people's time is worth nothing.
No,
And they know it too. Everybody knows the rules.
that's right.
I give you a free hot dog and soda, you're gonna stand there for a couple minutes and hear me out.
That's right. Tell them about Jesus, I tell you. They caught up into this, or if they have been caught up in it, they can find a way out of it, because this is a solution.
There is a
God
solution.
got the answer.
So, did we want to close in prayer? And does anybody have any other questions? So, as you can tell, this is the third in our series, and this was completely different than the one before, and which was completely different than the one before. So, as you tell your friends who have come in the past, and you share with people at church, tell them it really is different every time.
Well, they missed the FBI coming on the talk, And did you hear though that it isn't just, you get tired of hearing from us,
Yeah.
but did you hear that what she was saying? And that's just the stuff she's
yes.
touching.
And
And trust me, they don't touch much.
no,
They got very little. How many of her are there for Delaware, Maryland, D.C., and Northern Virginia?
how did she say?
No, but how many for people who do her job?
2.
Two.
2.
She does
So
this
if
Baltimore and
she's seeing
Delaware.
this, how much do you think's really happening?
Oh,
And it's only, and they only, FBI, you only know it takes the big cases.
It only takes big cases, like
They
that
only
guy
take
with
the ones they
500
get.
victims, and it takes big cases.
Right, so
They
you know
don't
what the
even
guy
do
with
girls.
100
Underage girls, if there's only one, they don't do one girl.
No. And I'm not saying bad, I'm just saying,
No,
it's,
I know.
I want you to hear that it ain't just us saying that, it's a,
Well, that's the idea. I invited her today and Jen so that you guys would have different people. And as we have different subjects, I try to invite the police force. I try to invite the people who work with runaways for the runaway one. So it really does change up. Because there really is that much information about this topic that you actually can pick a different topic and
And
talk
I believe Satan keep people away so they won't hear the truth. Just like the truth about the Lord. They don't come to hear the truth. But once they find the truth, they, you know, they set free. And just like this is something that set people free. But you know the devil is told. So you know what, I'm grateful that you still coming, and we just gonna keep on praying, keep on inviting people.
That's right.
Keep on telling, like the young lady that works with me at the school today, she forgot it was the day she had to go pick up her grandbaby from school. So she said, well, I can't bring you. I said, no. I was like, going home, but.
Well, and, you know, I don't know how this video looks, but I mean, also, I leave a copy of this PowerPoint every time, and people can do a self-lesson with the PowerPoint.
So you do leave it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he emails him, they have the availability, I certainly don't mind sharing.
And I'll let people know. You know, but,
And if they can, you know, work on with the links that are on there, then they'll see those different things too. So do you want to hold hands, or you just want me to pray and close? What would you guys like?
what do you want to do?
Let me just pray and we'll be done. Thank you, Lord, so much for this time.